Alright, Bluestone Militia, you ready to do some math? The real hard math. You don't think about how hard math is until you really try to take it on. And I mean, quantify the real of it all. Okay, so open it up in here. Now, I got some pictures here, and we're going through the Breakfast CPI, because these are all things that'll overlap and do a bunch of things, and you might have to get into the comment section here. I don't have a problem with Army pay. I don't have a problem with the Army structure. This is the new models. We can take a look at them right here. Oop, I went too far. Right here. This is 20, or I had 23 at one point in time up here. But essentially they were making 1900, whether that's bi-weekly, weekly, who knows. But in the Masons, we don't have this. You just have a regular job and a regular CPI. That's what's in your shopping cart, and you have to factor a few things. You're going to have to factor. I like to start it off of let's actually start with your rotation. This is your Army leadership. They're going to run in different shifts. They're going to overcycle. They're going to do anything. They're going to do a lot of this partial differential equation book with multiple structures and system. And here's the simple double wide. It's roughly about $38,000 before delivery, before estimates, before concrete pad, before furnishing. And to really get somebody from the Masons out here into military ready without BAH housing or anything like this, you're going to have something to this or equivalent to this block, right? And then we're going to go through your finances. What can you actually, maybe your daddy's a millionaire, maybe not. Maybe you are going to have absolutely the hardest time in the world with what you're actually doing for paying back that or initiating it to, whether it be the Army, whether it be him, whether it be me. I'm obviously not your financier, but we're going to be getting into that in terms of your work schedule and things like that. Up, work, get up, do breakfast, do the work grind, half an hour lunch, 10-minute breaks. That's 8, 8, 8, right? And there's 8 hours of sleep for you, factored in phones, working minimum wage. For New York, it's going to set differently in your regions. When you go to check this is where that first adjustment begins before we start to get into actually your CPI. This is just some rough things. I give you a rough omelet. This is a 3-egg omelet, 1 piece of cheese, 2 pieces of toast, and a cup of coffee every morning for your colloidal intake. Now later on, we can begin to change that. And we're kind of doing it for purposes of math. We're kind of doing it for purposes of you can eat 3 eggs every morning forever. I know a lot of our granddaddies did it. That is just the way it is. You're not going to implode because you didn't have tricks this morning. You know what I mean? Anything on the rotation. And here's the simple way you do it. It's just a recipe. Just Army leadership formation. It's not heavy duty quantum mechanics or anything going down in here or anything like that. But let's take a look at this. Well, obviously we got some anomalies like the paycheck, like the qubits of the single wide that you're trying to get 2-bedroom, right? Because whether you're single, you're going to want a workspace, or whether you decided your workspace wanted to be delivered in kids. Okay, this is heavy duty stuff, people. You need to start taking it seriously. I'm usually a critic on the other end, but bear with me. I get to be a bit of a Satan Animal House teacher here. So obviously we got some problems, right? 12 eggs in a 3-day egg system every morning is only going to get you 4 days. We're going to need to figure this out. 16 slices of cheese, 1 slice a day is get you 16. 24 slices of bread, 2 slices of bread every day is going to get you 12 days. Cups of coffee. This is going to be a bit relative, but we keep it to what Maxwell or Folgers or whoever, Black Rifle Coffee, accordingly, and we're doing it cheap. Walmart is our base. There's your timeline. I gave you February 5th to 23. So that's where we start this, and anybody else can do this. This may not be Army doctrine at the point to why math, right? In what areas, Walmarts, there's no outside of the MOS. Not anymore. It's just, you didn't understand Saltier Sharps was that little clerk lady out there, but it'll come up. It'll come up, quantum, a bag of sugar, man. So you have to kind of discern how many days you're going to get out of this, whether it's relative on the calc to come through here and kind of rough estimate yourself. Now then, you're just guessing from out here. These are not you actively filling in a checklist for the military or why you would need to do things like that. Why are we doing this shit, Sarge? It doesn't make you shut up. So we got to be able to find a way to make this do this. So we're going to need 2 dozen of eggs to get us through a week. And this is a bi-weekly pay system, right? And you get factored in your BAH and everything else. Again, in the Mason's house, we don't get this luxury. All we get is $15 an hour, roughly $31,000 a year, and how that's going to factor into the system. And that's starting at about 15. Again, we start ground zero. I'm not talking about master masons. I'm not talking about year serves, 2 years into the military, or an 05 that's been there, since the dawning of time, and what the pay structure may represent. There's a whole nother file cabinet for that stuff. But we're going to need to set this up so at least it's 1 week of pay. And what you'll notice in here is, again, you'll have a remainder of an egg, you'll have a remainder of slices, and, whether it be bread or cheese, you're going to get some remainders. And so that's going to apply into our next week. This first week is just the initial buy-in. That's $37 for the first initial week, all this material for that omelet recipe. And then you're going to say, well, the second week, continuing these rotations, I'm only going to get $15 as a cost to that first week. And third week and fourth week in the first month, or your paycheck basis, you're going to need to adjust that to, I don't know if it'll let me come down. Come on. No, didn't do it down there. About $15, the same price as this one. Maybe you didn't have an extra need for milk. Maybe you didn't use all your sugar or coffee or butter. That does not matter. Inside here, it's just going off the rough estimates. It's going to do this. It may not be that exact dollar, 15 to 30. I think it's like $33, because you should have in that way either coffee or butter left over, coffee or sugar. I'm not exactly sure which one you're going to run out of first, but I can't tell you as Uncle Sam or Sarge, be like, no, absolutely no sugar in your coffee, no cream in your coffee. I mean, that starts to get a little weird in the math, but that's why gravity is so fascist the way it is. It's a critical race, if you will. And